Good morning, my brothers and sisters. On this, our first spoiler cast for the GMG VGBC. Or good morning, guys. Video Game Book Club in 2022. Thank you so much for joining us on this fine morning, afternoon, evening, or night as we discuss the Uncharted hexology. Woo! You guys ready? We are in it to win it.
I'm impressed.
That was top notch.
Hey, that we only do a professional here. We are professional thieves. I will accept the 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, I didn't think I was going to sing it till like 10 minutes ago. And I'm like, you know what? I got to sing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I did.
That's good. All right.
And it's in honor of a fantastic series and saga, the Uncharted hexology. We are talking about all 6 games tonight. That's right. We are giving our thoughts. We are reminiscing about not 1, not 2, not 3, but 6 Uncharted games that have been released over the past 15 years.
What? When did Uncharted 1 come out? 15 years
ago? Uncharted 1 came out 15 years ago.
Yeah.
2007, my friend, on the PS3.
1.
For those who don't know us, the PS1 plus 1 plus 1. For those who don't know us, there are 2 GMG hosts tonight. I am one of your hosts, the Shambhala Mountaineer and Transition Yeti, Lucas Sam Swisher. Also with me, my brother, the judge of the jury and executioner of secret societies, hallucinogens, and Ubar, Patrick Novacell.
I am the judge, jury, and executioner of hallucinogens. Is that what you said?
Is it? Right. I think that's what I said. Hallucinogens, secret societies, and Ubar.
Okay. Yeah.
You got your own secret kingdom of Ubar, and you are the judge, jury, and executioner of it. At least until it sinks into the sand, never to be seen of again. Seen or heard of again.
Mm-hmm.
So enjoy it. But it's not just the 2 of us, folks. We also have an illustrious guest tonight who really needs no introduction, but I'm going to give an introduction anyways. This man is worth more than El Gosh Darn Dorado and friendship and love. And this man would take a bullet to a notebook over his chest for anyone. Tim Paullin.
Hello.
Welcome, my friend. We're so glad to have you. How's it going?
Good. I've been looking forward to this. Podcasting legends.
Oh, thank you so much. You're a streaming legend. We're so glad to have you with us. Don't make fart noises at me when I give you a compliment. Like just at me. None of that, friend. No, but seriously, it is great to have you.
Yeah,
Timmy
it
Paullin.
It's great to be here.
Good.
You guys
good,
are awesome.
Where are you coming at us from? Live from not your house.
Live from not my house. A Holiday Inn Express in Spencer, Iowa.
Spencer, Iowa. I love that place. That's like my 47th favorite place to go in Iowa during the month of March.
Knowing you, I know you've ranked every single state.
I have.
In Iowa. Yeah. Top 50 places in each state.
That's right. I've ranked it every month and every state, 50 of them, in honor of the 50 states. So
this is in my bottom 5 places to be in Iowa.
It's that fun, huh?
I lived here for 15 years. Yes, it's not in my top 5.
This is the old stomping grounds. You pretty much went up to the bellhop and you're like, "Hey Frank, how's it been going last year?"
I walked into a place today. I'm like, I saw the owner and I know him. My ex-wife and I used to bowl with him and his wife.
Right.
He didn't recognize me.
Really?
Yeah, because I moved in 2008 and he did not recognize me. And I let it go all the way to the end. And then I said, "You don't remember me, do you?"
Oh, that's the best when you're like, hey, gotcha. Nice.
No, it's all good.
Now, were you when you're in those kind of situations, like in Spencer, where you're going to run into people do you like look for those opportunities to see if they remember you, or to, do you like avert eye contact sometimes depending on who it is? What's your protocol with such things?
It depends on who it is.
It does, right?
I mean, if you're walking down, Walmart's over here, you're walking down the aisle and you see somebody like you didn't particularly really care for the 15 years you lived here, you just go, yeah, next aisle. I'll go down that one later.
I can loop back. I'll loop back.
I'm just gonna go over here and pretend I'm looking at something else.
Yeah. Patrick, what about you? What's your protocol?
I avoid everyone at all costs.
Don't lie, really?
You're
such a liar.
That's basically the same thing. It's like, you know what, if it's someone that I was friends with, enjoyed, I'll definitely go up to them. But it's like, if they were like acquaintances, like I don't want to like get into like some small talk where it's like, oh, what are you doing now? It's like, no, I'm just here to get toilet paper. Like, can you just let me go?
What are they like? Are they touching your arm?
I have
so good to see you. Let me put my hand on you awkwardly.
Oh yeah, that doesn't happen to you. Of course it does.
Let go of me.
You get the hand on the shoulder. It's really
I need
good
toilet
to see
paper.
you.
You like fill your arms with toilet paper. You're like, I just came for toilet paper. I gotta go. And you just walk away.
Yeah, I need this too. And that.
For me, the deciding factor is, do I remember their name? Because inevitably someone's gonna go, hey Lucas, and I'm gonna be like, hey you.
No.
Oh,
hey
that's
man.
the worst.
Hey man.
Hey man. What's up, buddy? Oh,
what's up? What have you been up to?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm great with faces, horrible with names. Horrible. Like,
Oh,
hey, how are you? Good
worst.
to see you. And I'll walk out going, who was that?
You're scouring Facebook like where I knew them from somewhere.
Yeah, it's no good. It's not good whatsoever. And so for me, if I remember their name, and as long as they weren't like, someone that I don't think I got picked on a lot as a kid, but I know there's a select few that I remember them not being particularly nice. So if I see one of those, I'm gonna be like, I don't really. You might be a better person now, but
yeah,
nah.
Oh,
but for the most part, I'm good as long as I can remember their name.
Yeah.
You get that random Facebook request from somebody you didn't like in high school. You're going, I didn't like you then. No.
Right.
I'll be honest. I'm usually the one that just clicks through and says, sure, we can be friends, whatever. And then later on, their stuff starts popping on my newsfeed. I'm like, when did I friend this person?
I made a wrong decision here.
Unfriend. I did that earlier this week. I was like, what? Okay, I don't need to see this stuff. Is whatever it's political or personal things. I'm like, we weren't that close. So
yeah, that's some Uncharted territory right there.
Yes. Ooh, speaking of Uncharted, speaking of someone I would love to chat with, we need to talk about our buddy Drake, the Drake brothers, Sully, Elena, Chloe. We're bringing them all out tonight.
Cutter.
Patrick,
Don't forget Cutter.
Cutter, can't forget Cutter. Sorry, can't forget Cutter. We need to jump right into that. And I want to start a little bit with the very beginning of Uncharted for you. I really want all three of us to just take a step back and recall the first time we were introduced to Uncharted, we played Uncharted, how it just really captured that first moment, that honeymoon period, as it were. And we're going to start with our guest, Timmy.
Oh no.
Did I ask you too fast?
No,
I do it slower.
Timmy, what do you think about Uncharted?
Hey, you know what? If anybody's listening to us at 1.5 speed or 2 times speed, you sounded perfect.
Yeah,
that's right.
On the money.
Like, can you imagine though how slow it would be on the half speed with me doing that voice? It's like it's like you can't even understand anything.
You sound like Dory calling whales.
Yeah, speaking whale.
Hey, guys.
How did I find Uncharted? I made a friend when I moved away from here, actually, and moved to Illinois, and got to chatting with this guy, made friends with him, and we were just talking over drinks one night, and he goes, you don't by chance play games, do you? I'm like, yeah, I have a PS3. And he's like, really? And he starts
Ooh.
rattling off, have you played Uncharted? I'm like, no, I play Madden.
Yeah.
Madden and Gran Turismo. That was it.
Nice.
That's the only 2 games I owned. And
Wow.
he's
Well,
like,
I'm glad this friend saved you.
he handed all 3 of them to me. And I'm like,
Wow.
Oh,
No way.
yeah, because this has been 2009,
Uh-huh.
right? Yeah. Yeah. Well, no.
No.
Been 2010.
Uncharted 3 came out in 2011. It came out the same year as Skyrim.
Yep, you're right. It had been 2011 because he was moving, which I did not know. And he handed him to me. He goes, you have 2 weeks and I'm moving. I want him back. I'm like, what? He goes, put
No
him on
pressure.
easy and just roll. He goes, you'll be fine. And I got through him and I'm like, I handed him back to him and he goes, what'd you think? I go, I think I'm going to GameStop. I'm going to buy my own
Nice. Yeah.
because I want to
Those
replay
are-
him. And I did.
Those are Novacell numbers, doing all 3 games in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was
That's
that.
that's pretty good.
mm-hmm.
But it was great because I moved him. He was moving to New Jersey. So then we had a 16-hour car drive to talk about it.
Oh, no doubt. Look at that. You could debrief and talk all about it. Nice. Very
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, well, that was a long trip.
Yeah. How about you, Patrick?
Yeah, for me, there was an Uncharted One demo, and I had played a little bit of the demo, and I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. And so 'cause
Really?
I was the same thing as you, Tim. I was playing Madden. I played it like MLB The Show. You know, I was a sports guy, you know, gamer, and I didn't play any of these adventure games. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to play this game. And then so my buddy comes over and he's like, what kind of games you got in your PS3? So he puts on the demo and he starts playing it. And I'm like, you're not going to like this game. And then so he plays through the entire demo and I'm watching him like, actually, this actually doesn't look that bad. So and that was my first introduction to Uncharted. At first I was like, yeah, no thanks. Like that's was a weird thing for me because I was, you know, back then only sports games.
Yep.
Yeah, that was my first venture into Uncharted. So when he played the whole demo and I was watching him, I was looking forward to actually playing it when it came out. So it was weird. Like, if he wasn't there, I probably wouldn't have played Uncharted when it first came out.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
So you were day one.
Yeah, most likely. I don't remember buying physical games. You know, I don't have a PS3 anymore. I don't have physical games anymore. So I'm sure I bought it. I just don't know. That's ages ago. That's eons.
Do you want
It's
me
been
to
a
send you a
while.
PS3?
You have some extra PS3s?
I've got 4.
I had 2.
Oh my gosh.
I had one
Nice.
that had the yellow ring of death, and then I was like, yeah, I got a replacement, and that had a yellow ring of death a week later, and I was like, you know what?
Oh, no way.
Not playing any more PS3 games then.
Jeez.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yep.
I've only owned one PS3 and I got it actually after my first year of living in Brazil. I had been a PlayStation gamer back in the day. I played the PS1, like got my PS1 back in the mid 90s and played it until I got to college. And then I was out on my own and ain't nobody got the money to pay for PS2, definitely not a PS3. And which when the PS3 came out, I was already, I think I was even poorer after college because I had to like pay rent and pay other things that I was able to push off to student loans, you know, prior to that. And so I really wasn't in the PlayStation realm. I really wasn't in the video gaming a whole bunch. I had some friends that had Xboxes. And so I played Halo, played Call of Duty with them, but it was just for fun. Like it was just whenever I played their systems. And then my buddy Tom in West Virginia got me Xbox 360 back in, I think it was 2011. He got it for me or 2010 as a birthday gift. And I started getting back into games little by little. And then we moved to Brazil to be missionaries back in 2012. And nobody played Xbox here. Everybody played PS3, like played PlayStation. And so there were a couple guys in my church that I met up with and we're like, hey, we're going to play some games, hang out, you know, and all that jazz. And he put in Uncharted and we started just swapping controllers and playing. And I was like, this is cool. Like, it's funny. and it's like Indiana Jones, except he's like younger. I mean, no offense to Harrison Ford or Indiana Jones, but he's very much an older gentleman, and so it just has a different feel to it. And so playing this more contemporary Indiana Jones game, or Tomb Raider with a guy, was just like, okay, I'm gelling with this. And it was actually Uncharted 3, and so I had no idea what was going on. And I remember it was the chateau, when you're in the burning chateau, and like we just kept playing, and I want to say we played until like right at the end of the airplane scene of Uncharted 3, when you fall out of the airplane through the sky. And I'm like, this is nuts. I'd never played any game to this caliber with any of these set pieces and with these different things. And I was like, I got to do something about this. I can't live at this guy's house. Obviously I have a family, I have, ministry and things to do, but I gotta get my hands on a PS3 on these Uncharted games. So when we visited the US I want to say it was in the summer of 2013, bought a PlayStation 3, got Uncharted. I think Uncharted 1 and 3 were on the game collection at that time, where you got like 15 games, like 8 PS3 games, 7 Vita games. Like it was like a set of games you got on PS Plus. And I think 1 or 2 of them was Uncharted. I think actually it was just Uncharted 3 was free with it. And then I bought Uncharted 1 and 2. And so then after that, I played through the trilogy. But yeah, it was a friend who got me, a Brazilian friend that got me into Uncharted. So
nice. That's amazing.
And I've never looked back. Like it just, they're a part of my return to video games. And I just adore this series. So last year when we were deciding what we were going to play for the GMG VGBC, and Uncharted series came up. I think it was Uncharted 4 in particular. And then some of us took it upon ourselves to just play all of them. We were like, it's not officially all of them, but we might as well just play all of them. They're not like super long games compared to a lot of games nowadays.
Right.
But yeah, what an experience to go through them like back to back to back like that. I had never done that before we did that this year. And so tonight, for those of you who are still with us, hanging out, wanting to join us for the journey, we're just going to do a quick drive-by and just hit the highlights of all 6 Uncharted games. And I thought to mix it up a bit, we're not going to go in release order. We're going to go in chronological order of the actual games and when they occur in the Nathan Drake timeline. So that means we're going to start with the little gem of Golden Abyss on the Vita, the prequel of the Uncharted hexology. And this is one I got from day one of getting a PS3 and getting PS Plus, but I didn't get a Vita until 2015, I think 2015 or 2016. Okay. And then I didn't play it till the end of this past year, beginning of this year, and finish it. I had it on my Vita forever, and I just never pulled the trigger to play it. So this was my first time playing through it. And I have to say, I was impressed with how beautiful the animation was. The Vita is like a little mini PlayStation. It's like 5 years old now. So there's definitely some datedness to the look of it and the feel and the controls.
Wait, what's 5 years old now?
The Vita, isn't it?
10. It's 10, isn't it?
It's 10. It came out in 2012.
Is it 10?
Yeah. It came out in 2012.
Sorry. Golden Abyss is a 5. Wait, is Golden Abyss a 5?
Golden Abyss was a launch game.
In
2012.
What I'm talking about. No. I'm misremembering my years. It's because I'm getting old. So that's the first thing that goes is your memory, your mind. So yeah, how old is it? 10 years?
10 years. Came out in February of 2012.
Wow. Okay. So I stand corrected. 10-year-old handheld. It's still beautiful. I loved it. I will say that some of the Vita centric controls, like the motion controls, the balancing when you would get on a log in this game, and he would be like, all of a sudden, like exactly halfway, he'd be like, oh, and then you get that little bar on top with the red and green, and he's like sticking his arms out, and I'm like, I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but I guess it's a prequel. He's not as seasoned of a adventurer and treasure hunter. I was like, come on, man, what is going on?
It was every single time he would go across and just balance himself. He would always clap. Like, I don't know why you clap after
you don't do that when you're balancing.
I was like, it was a weird animation. I'm like, why is he clapping? Like, he's like,
That's what I always do.
I got it.
Yep. Clap once if you're gonna make it. Clap twice if you're gonna fall. No, Drake, no.
No.
But yeah, some of that stuff on the Vita was really funny, like the lighting of the documents. Let me tell you, I was on an airplane and I had to turn on my little lamp above. It was nighttime, it was dark, and so I had to turn on my little light, and I had to shove the Vita up onto the light. And my daughter was still awake, and Natasha's like, Dad, what are you doing? And I'm like, it's for the game, okay? It's for Uncharted. She's like, that's a weird game. I'm like, you're telling me. I did not like the lighting of the documents.
I think the lighting was the
least
worst.
Favorite part.
Yeah, it was
it's
the
really
worst
hard to get the sensor to pick it up sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
I think I got
a lamp or.
Yeah, it was like on 50% forever. Like I got it up to 50% real fast, and then it would just stop reading the light or like detecting the light. But yeah, besides that, I thought the game played great. The jumping around, the climbing and stuff, mechanics were fine. You still have your moments where you want to head left and then you head right, or you think there's a handhold, there's not, and then you fall to your death, and they lament your death by screaming your name or screaming Drake's name. They're not like, oh, Lucas, no. That would have been weird.
The only thing worse than the balancing was the back touch to climb the rope.
I never used that.
Oh, you didn't use it? Oh
no, I just used. They always gave you 3 options. At least when I played it, it was like you can use the back controls, you can use the touch screen, or you can just use your thumbsticks. And I bet you that was miserable to use the back touch. I've always think the back touch is so you never know when it's gonna detect.
The Vita would have survived more if it would have had triggers instead of the back touch.
Yeah, if it had R2, L2, had both the ones and the twos. Yeah. So what were your guys' favorite parts, the highlights of Golden Abyss? Let's start with Patrick. What do you think?
No, the highlights was the touchscreen. I loved going up to little stones and rubbing the paper on it to find out. I thought that was very cool. A very cool way to utilize the Vita and the technology it had.
Yeah.
Outside of that, like the when you're fighting and you have to like swipe diagonally upwards to the right or to the left, like so that those were like those were iffy. But it was for Uncharted series, this is by far the bottom of the on the list
story wise, weakest story.
Yeah,
I would agree.
The story, it felt like you were thrown into a middle of a game, like you're on chapter 7 already. Like I felt like it was, for this being a prequel, it really didn't give you like a good like beginning, a good start to the game. But overall, I mean, like we had what 3 Uncharteds by the time this game came out. So we have a lot of the game mechanics for a portable game. This was on par as probably, I mean, like Vita only lasted a few years. This is arguably one of the best looking games next to Killzone. As far as like the Uncharted story overall, I mean, it's an Uncharted game, through and through. I loved it. It's like I said, I think I gave it a 6 out of 10. It's an okay game. But as an Uncharted game, it was great. This game was probably the game I played the most on the Vita. It was just great story, great to pick up and play. And it has all the same game mechanics, same mannerisms. I mean, like the writing was top notch, like the rest of the console editions.
I don't know. There were some moments where I thought the jokes were a little too, I don't know what to call it. On the nose. There was one point where Dante, which side note, Dante was a huge jerk. And I'm like, why were we working with him? Like he's got to be
you never
the
found
worst.
out why.
Yeah, and he's
No.
like a jerk the whole time. And it's like when he betrays you, it's like, well, duh, he's a jerkwad. Of course he's gonna, betray you. But
He-
there's one point where he's like, you're doing the rubbing, and he's like, oh, you're rubbing one out there, and it's like, are you serious? Really? Why? Why are you saying this right now? Don't quit talking. Go away. What were you gonna say, Tim?
I
About
was going to
Dante?
say Dante made Eddie look like a saint.
Yeah, for sure. I much preferred Eddie to Dante.
Was it Eddie Vargas?
I think so.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. The side characters in this one, it was once Sully entered the fray, like, which felt like, I'm pretty sure it was the back half of the game. I was like, oh, Sully, thank you for joining this game, because Chase is like, I don't believe that she's done any exploring whatsoever. She's whiny. I did not enjoy the babysitting of her, like having to protect her while she's running. I'm used to Elena, used to Chloe, who can take care of themselves. You don't have to watch their back and make sure they don't get hurt. There was one area in particular where there was a couple snipers that were like on opposite sides of the field of view. So I was looking to the left and like trying to shoot out the snipers before they could hurt Chase. And then I kept failing. And I'm like, why do I keep failing? And then eventually I looked all the way to the other side, and there was one little sniper guy that was like so little, and he was shooting Chase when I couldn't find him. And then eventually I found him third try or fourth try, whatever. But yeah, Sully was a breath of fresh air when he entered the game.
Well, he's the best.
I mean, he is, right? He is the best.
When you think of Uncharted, you think of Nate and Sully. And playing through all of these games, I'm like, man, Sully was barely in a couple of these games.
It's true.
It's so like,
Yeah.
I don't remember. It was like, I remember like them being in it like together through the entire game, but that was not the case in any of these games.
Yeah. You're like, where's Sully again? Did
I
we
don't
lose
remember,
him somewhere?
Like, yeah. He shows up all the way at the end on all the games.
Yeah, like one you start out with Sully,
Right.
and then like three.
Well, one you start
kinda
out with
end
Elena, and then Sully gets in there pretty quick, but then
Right.
he gets captured. And so then you
Yeah.
don't see him for a long time. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, with that, let's just go ahead and did anybody else have, Tim, did you want to share any highlights or things for Golden Abyss? What you liked, what you,
No, because I mean, I think you guys rate that game a lot higher than I do. I think it's like a 5, maybe.
yeah,
But like I said, I played all I played all 4 of them before I got a Vita.
yeah.
So I mean, I got a Vita very late in life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Mhm.
it wasn't being supported by then.
Yeah, that's
and-
true.
And that was, I had Killzone Mercenary and Uncharted. That was the only 2 games I had, and then whatever we got on PS Plus.
Right.
And then I sold both of them for a lot more than I paid for them.
Yeah.
Have you
Nice.
looked to see how much Golden Abyss is going for on eBay?
Oh, is it a lot? I only have it digitally through PS Plus, so I couldn't sell it if I wanted to.
Oh yeah, it's well over $100.
Oh, wow.
I'm
Yeah,
never
because
gonna-
I regret it and I want to buy it again.
Oh, really?
And
Can you not buy it digitally?
I don't know. I've never tried. I guess
Hmm.
you should go on the PS. Probably have to go through the PS3 store, won't you?
Yeah, PS3 or Vita, I'd imagine you'd have to go through one of those since you can't go online.
Mm.
No.
Mhm.
Project.
Yep.
Yep. Little side project there. But yeah, Golden Abyss was definitely forgettable, but it was still, with Drake and Sully in it, it was still fun. I would definitely rate it around the same thing that you guys gave it, 5.5, 6.
Yeah.
But would you buy it? I'll ask you too, because you played Golden Abyss more than I did. I played through it once and that was it. Would you, if they remade it without the touch controls and the balancing, would you buy it day one?
I don't see. I hope they don't do that. I
I
hope
wouldn't.
I would rather them just port it than remake it or remaster it. Just port it,
Yeah.
because I'd rather them spend their money or their time and efforts on something else. I would like maybe remaking Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, or continuing the franchise.
I think they
I-
really, they really need to, I think they need to continue the franchise. Like, they give it maybe a couple more years, but they've set it up perfectly to continue the franchise. And I think, like you said, Patrick, and you alluded to too, Tim, that playing Uncharted 1 through 4, I can't imagine. So like I played these games in the order we're going to talk about them. So I hadn't played Uncharted 1, 2, 3, and 4 for a long time. So getting to play a Golden Abyss was like, okay, this is warm up. This is fine. And then I get introduced to these random control schemes. Some of them are fine and some of them are fun, like the rubbings and stuff. But then you talked about like the swiping mini games, the QTEs that you did, like for the last 2 bosses, right? The I think Dante and the General, like you had these what felt like 10-minute swiping battles.
I hate
where
QTE
you just are like
fights.
swipe left, swipe down, swipe up, swipe right, and it's like the cinematics happening while you're swiping. I almost had a perfect run with both of those, but I think I screwed up on the General one. But they were forgettable. But yeah, so I can't imagine playing those after playing the other ones. So it was only up from here for me, getting into Uncharted 1. Yeah. So we get into Uncharted 1, the beginning, the first game, 2007's fine classic. And I will say that the overall animation was kind of a step down, but it's obvious because it's an earlier game, even though it happens later. I felt like the shading and look of everybody was a little weird, even on the remaster for the PS4. Maybe it's partly because the Vita screen was smaller, and so the graphics can look a little nicer because of the aspects and all of that, aspect ratio and all that. And the climbing for Uncharted 1 to me was worse. Like
Abysmal.
it was abysmal. I died so many times and it was awful.
Yeah, it's noticeable when you're shinnying around the cliffs to get to the U-boat.
Yes. I definitely died a number of times there.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Get over there.
The camera angles for that specific section were terrible. I'm like, this is how we start this? Like, my goodness. Like, I'm not gonna have a good time with the rest of the game.
Yeah. Well, because I felt like after playing Golden Abyss, I was like, okay, I felt like they didn't let me go off the rails too much when I was climbing and die accidental deaths. Like I felt like I was a little on rails and that was fine. I don't need it to be like, ooh, do you want to go up while you're climbing or right? I just want to climb, see some vistas and get down and shoot people and do the story.
And I feel like
Uncharted 1 was not that.
But I feel like Uncharted 1, when it came out, I mean, this was, I want to say it was revolutionary because of all the motion capture that for this game. It was just unbelievable. And it's just like, it felt like like you had said, it was a male version of Tomb Raider. But at this point, Tomb Raider was, it was
gone. It was archaic. It was PlayStation 1, kind of PlayStation 2, I think.
Yeah, I played them on PC.
Yeah.
The old ones.
And I think this game set the standard of how stories should be told.
For sure. Sure. They did. And I mean, that's obvious in the relationship and chemistry between Elena, Sully, and Drake. Like it's instant in Uncharted 1. The way they interact with each other, the way they talk, like even though like towards the beginning of the game, Drake and Sully immediately ditch Elena.
They do.
Sully's like, so we're getting out of here. We don't need this broad. And then they just leave. And it's like, oh man, I forgot they like totally burn her at the beginning of the game. And she just takes it in stride. Like I really like her character and how she doesn't, like she's not all, oh, I can't believe you did that. Like she's just like, all right, we're gonna, she was really like when she rescues Drake from the jail, like she's really like chummy with him and picking on him and stuff. And I love their chemistry in this first game. Like they hit the ground running for sure.
It really set the stage for the rest of the franchise. It really did it really, really well.
Yeah.
Well, even the beginning of 1, it doesn't mess around. It's like right at the beginning. Okay, we're opening the coffin of Francis Drake, and then they're getting shot at immediately.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is how this is going to go. All
and
right.
The body count starts piling up as Drake massacres every pirate in Borneo or off the coast of Peru, wherever they were.
What a great tutorial on teaching you the shooting mechanics and the fighting and the combat. It's like, this is a blast. And we're at the opening scene.
Yeah.
They try
For
to they
sure.
try to teach you how to throw grenades. It's like Uncharted 1. If you want to throw a grenade, you're gonna do
geez.
badly.
Yeah, and it is funny. You play through. At this point, all of us had already played through all the games. You go back to Uncharted 1, and you're like, okay, where's the throwback button? And
Right.
there's like no throwback button. All of a sudden, you explode, and the grenade blows up in your face. And you're like, oh right, I just need to run away. Like that's my only option is to flee for my life.
All right, so I just looked it up, and the kill count starts, and there is around 4,000 enemies Nathan Drake kills over the course of 1 through 4.
Those are rookie numbers. You gotta pump those numbers up. Pump them up.
Oh man,
And-
4,000.
And that's just the ones that he killed once. How many times did we die and then we had to kill them
Yeah,
all
exactly.
over again?
That's not counting Golden Abyss either.
Oh,
There were a lot of fools in Golden Abyss to kill. What did you guys think of the villains? I don't remember the smoking guy's name, but there's Navarro who winds up being like the real mastermind or whatever, like at the end when he pretty much betrays the guy that's been employing him most of the game.
shoot, Roman.
Roman, thank
Yep.
you. Yes. I'm trying to remember. I was listening to a podcast at one point. It might have been Sacred Symbols or another one, but they talked about how both Roman and Navarro are shadow versions of Drake and Sully. And I thought that was a really cool like touch that I never noticed the first time I played. And then I played it again. And I was like, oh yeah, I can definitely see it. Like Roman is the shadow version of Sully and Navarro of a Drake. But what do you guys think of the villains in this first one, including the zombies, the zombie creature monsters?
Yeah, that was the zombie creatures was the only part. I mean, it made sense for the story, but it was like the zombies were like at the height when Uncharted 1 came out. Like this is like everything had to have zombies in it. So when there were zombies in this, I was like, oh boy, this is kind of
Really?
like the
Where
bad part.
that section where, I mean, I know it's towards the end, but where they've got El Dorado there and, all the zombies are coming at him and you got to run down and follow Navarro up.
Right.
Yeah.
And jump on the statue,
And-
jump on El Dorado.
Trying to play that on hard.
Oh my
Oof.
gosh. Dude, I was playing it on crushing and like this is ridiculous. Like I had
Yeah.
to play that section so many times and I was getting so frustrated.
Yeah, and
Pick
they
up the
really
shotgun.
pigeonhole
Doesn't
you.
work.
They pigeonhole you with the shotgun. I'm pretty sure if I remember right.
I
They're
think
like,
you're
"Here,
right.
You get the shotgun, have fun." And I'm like, I've barely used the shotgun.
I
Most of this
never
hard
pick up a
playthrough.
shotgun.
No, because it
Never.
requires you to get like right up in their face. It's like, I don't want to get in their face. I want the
No.
dragon sniper. I want the desert eagle. I want the
Oh, the
things that
Desert
are like,
Eagle. Yes.
yes, good, not the shotgun. And then that one makes you use the shotgun in that little part.
And it wasn't even the good shotgun. It was like the double barrel.
That's true. Oh,
It wasn't
yeah,
even
that
the
was-
SAS 12 or anything that actually you could use.
yeah,
I only use the shotguns for the trophies.
exactly. Yep, same here.
Yep.
Same here.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, how many times do I have to kill? Okay, 30. And I'm never using it again.
Yep, that's exactly right. At least in this one, by the end, they introduced I feel like Navarro was like a side villain, and then right at the end, they're like, but he's the main villain, and then they kill him. Like, I'm like, all right, I guess that was fun. But at the end of this one, Uncharted 1, you actually do have treasure that you get, which I think is different than pretty much the rest of the games, where you don't end up with really anything. You end up with a coin, you end up with someone else gets it, but Drake himself never actually gets away with some treasure. Of course, in this one, it's Sully who drives up with the boat and says, "Hey, I found some treasure." And they
Yeah.
take it back and take that picture with
We've
the
already
guns
got a
and the
boat.
treasure.
I like this one better.
Yeah. It shows all the treasure. So yeah, Uncharted 1 is a classic. It's a good start to the whole series. And it just goes up from here, I think. How about you guys? What do
It
you
does.
think?
It definitely goes up. This went from the Uncharted Golden Abyss was a 6 out of 10. This is an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not it is my second. It's second from the bottom in
I would agree.
games. It lays a good foundation, like I had said before. It's a good start to the Nathan Drake, Elena, and Sully story. But the game mechanics did not age well at all. The animations, you can tell this was a PS3 game. You could definitely tell was their first game, because as we talk about Uncharted 2, 3, and 4, I mean, you can see the graphical leaps as we go forward in the games, and you can tell this one didn't age as well as the others.
No, I feel like my score has gone down for it every time I play it, because it's just like Uncharted 2, 3, 4, they did it so much better. So it's kind of hard to, you want to try to have some mercy, because it does have, the foundation of our knowledge of Nate, Sully, and Elena. You can't look past that part story wise, but in terms of the controls, everything, I still have it on PS3, and honestly, I still want to get the platinum for it. I haven't done the crushing playthrough, but I'm in no hurry. I played through it this time just for fun. It was nice. Someday I'll go back and get the platinums for it to honor the memory of it, whatever, because they're solid games.
Until you go back and realize that the PS3 control scheme is L1, R1 instead of the big triggers.
I don't look forward to that.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Why would you play the PS3 version? Why don't you play the Nathan Drake collection?
I play them all. I have them all. So I still want to get those platinums someday.
Trophy hunter.
Yep. The trophy hunter in me is just like, come on, Lucas, you can get those platinums. So anywho,
I've never platinum a Naughty Dog game.
Never, not a single one.
Nope.
No.
Nope. I beat them all on hard, but I've never beat them on crushing. I just couldn't pull it off.
They are tough. They are definitely
hats
tough.
off to you guys who have done it.
I've only done it.
Frustrated.
I want to say I've only done it Uncharted 4, and it's because they gave me the accessibility with the auto aim, and I took advantage of that from the get go.
Yeah,
you get the automatic headshot, you get the Desert Eagle going. Crushing is a breeze on Uncharted 4. Like, it's nuts. You just run around, headshot, 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 headshot. The end. Oh, you got a helmet? All right, 3 headshots and you're dead. There. Da-ding. Winner, chicken dinner. Speaking of winners, we continue to win on Uncharted with Uncharted 2. This game, the graphical fidelity, the controls, the set pieces in this game, the multiple locations, man, they amp it up. There's a huge gap and a good way of improvement from Uncharted 1 to Uncharted 2.
Right.
That's blood. That's a lot of my blood. On the train.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, there's a lot of blood. Oh, that's
that
my
opening. Honestly, that opening on the train, like climbing the train before it falls, was just like, wow. I feel like I felt my stomach. This is before ever playing really any kind of VR or I don't know, like just the set pieces in this game. I'll just say it now, they had some of my favorite set pieces between everything revolving around the train, the helicopter. Trying to think of what else is in terms of set pieces, but it has a lot. The mix between urban and jungle settings, like when you're in the war zones, the building falling down and like sliding down the building and surviving a complete collapse of this huge, like 10, 20 story building, however tall it is.
I died so many times there.
Yeah.
I think in this game, there's more locations than in any Uncharted game, which
I believe it,
which provided a lot of variety and in the atmosphere, the settings, like you said, the set pieces, like so many different. It was you start out in the snow. You're also in some flora and fauna and some jungle and there's some nighttime gazing at stars and things like that. Like it's a really a lot of variety, more variety than any of the Uncharted games, which is really nice. You're like, I felt like I didn't want it to end, because it was just, wow, they keep changing where we are. Like we're in different parts of the world, almost every level. It was really cool.
Yeah. And they introduce a new character, Chloe. And then whenever you encounter Elena again with old Jeff, Jeff, the cameraman. You have this little
Poor
love
Jeff.
triangle kind of going on, which is a little awkward but funny. Adds a little tenseness where you have Chloe, who's like, we're in it for ourselves. We need to ditch these losers, and Drake has already like built that character and that relationship with Elena and doesn't want to ditch her, and is kind of playing that reluctant hero. I really like that dynamic that they have throughout the game as they build those relationships and stuff. Did you guys have any highlights, Tim, with Uncharted 2 that you enjoyed or didn't enjoy? If there are things you want to throw out there.
Oh
that
no, this is my favorite Uncharted, hands down.
Ooh,
There's not
spoilers.
but there is not a thing in this game that I don't like. I have played it so many times.
Mhm.
Even that opening scene where you're going, well, the second time that you go up the train and then you actually can move, you're not, they don't hamper you as much the second time around
Right.
when all the enemies show up and it's just a bloodbath.
Yeah. Running through the train wreckage.
Yep. Finding the grenade launchers and just running around. But the scene where you meet Jeff and Elena with Chloe, and it just cracked me up, and I still love it because she's like, "Hi, Lena Fisher, last year's model."
Yeah. Yep. Just automatically going for the jabs. It's perfect.
But yeah, that whole scene where the four of them are running through there and Chloe is just like the worst. She went from being really good to just, we're leaving them. Like, no, we're not.
Yeah. We're ditching them to die. Too bad. So sad. It's like, whoa. We can't do that to Elena. Jeff, well, it's arguable.
Yeah.
But
We'll have no history with Jeff. Sorry,
no.
Jeff.
And thankfully we get rid of that dead weight eventually. So RIP Jeff.
Literal dead weight.
I will say two things that, Tim, you said you loved everything. There were two things that I was like, oof, I noticed the difference between Uncharted 1 and Uncharted 2. One is the amount of collectibles. They doubled the amount of collectibles. And there are so many collectibles in Uncharted 2. We have to shoot them out of a tree, out of a sign, out of a ceiling. And I'm like, who is just shoving treasures into like the roof of a building? Like, are they just like walking along the roof? Oh, I dropped it. And then you're like shooting it out of the eye of a big, huge statue. I'm like, what in the world is happening? Because like I said, I want to get the platinum someday. I want to do the crushing playthrough, etc. But I don't want to have to worry about the trophy or the treasures. So I always follow a treasure guide to get all the treasures and to just get out of the way. But man, there was some crazy locations for these treasures. I'm like, who finds this stuff? And to double the amount, come on. What are you doing to me?
And you're looking at them on a guide and you're going, I would have never found that.
No
possible way. Like the strange relics. Like,
yeah,
no way you're finding that without a guide. No way.
Yeah.
It's down in a sewer that you passed over 3 times.
Yeah. It was crazy. And
yeah.
then the other one,
How long did it take you to figure out that you had to shoot it when you could see the glow when it's up there? Because I'll admit, I'm like, how am I supposed to climb up there and get that?
I don't. Three playthroughs.
3 playthroughs. Yeah, I really don't remember how long it took, but yeah, I definitely think I tried to climb and get it, and then eventually I was just like, bang, 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 try to shoot it out, and it fell. I was like, okay, I guess I'll go with it. The other thing that I struggled with, and I even struggled this time around, and I think I played it on easy, is the Lazarevich fight.
Oh my goodness,
that boss fight.
Oh, that was a rough boss fight.
I lied. There's one thing I didn't like. The sap.
The sap. That boss fight is nuts. And when he starts spamming the grenades, like they're just filled his pocket, and he's just like, it's like a Memorial Day parade, like when they throw candy, except it's grenades. And then I think in the Lazarevich fight this time around, I died more just accidentally jumping into the ravine, like the different areas of the ravine that are around the tree sap where you can just plummet to your death. I think I died more there than anywhere else. But yeah, I do not care for that Lazarevich fight. But yeah.
But it leads into a great ending where you're running.
It does. I mean, it's those Crash Bandicoot inspired running away from crumbling death are something else. Like, yeah, they're an experience. Patrick, did you have any highlights from Uncharted 2 that you wanted to share?
Yeah, one thing is we didn't talk about Flynn, who is probably
Harry.
the biggest jerk in the franchise.
Oh, for sure.
Like when you are like going in there and the beginning of the game and you're trying to find that resin and he just leaves you, you're like, you're a jerk. And that was like the first of many double crosses in this game, because Chloe was the master of double, triple, quadruple, quintuple, you name it. She double crossed everyone. It's like, what side are you on? Are you like Catwoman in the Batman universe? Like,
she did have a Catwoman feel to her.
Yeah.
But I feel
Flynn,
like she was, I feel like Chloe was, for the most part, every time loyal to Drake, but she did do a lot of double crossing and a lot of.
Well, she did double crossing without telling Nate what she's doing. Like, hey, I'm going over here.
Point this gun at you just so you know. Oh, wait, you're not going to know. I'm surprised.
Yeah. That I guess you had to double back a little bit. That was refreshing to use the trank guns instead of actually killing people.
Yeah, that's true.
But Harry's a jerk.
Yeah, biggest jerk. Yep.
Another thing that I forgot about was Elena almost dying. I forget, like it didn't click until the explosion happens, and I'm like, oh right, that's what kind of like really fuels Drake's desire to get down there and take care of Lazarevich so he can help save her somehow. Or was it whatever.
Uncharted 2 where they're in the mountains for Shambhala, and then that one Tarzan guy, whatever his name is.
Yes, that's another set piece, is fighting the tanks.
Tenzin.
Yeah,
Tenzin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was, and like at the end, like there's always like the end scene where Elena and Nate are just bickering or laughing about something or making some sort of comment. The end of that game was so awesome. They're like, you thought I died, didn't you? And he's like, no, I didn't. No. He's like, you were scared. It's like, no, it wasn't. I give it like a 4. A 4?
Yeah.
That
was scary in a 4. Clowns.
That was a very, very good way to end the game.
For sure. And it was great, like relationship building and really, I feel like in like retrospect, looking back and then getting to Uncharted 4, where Drake, at least in part, is trying to protect Elena, you can tell that kind of, I almost lost you in, Shambhala or whatever. I think that's where we were in Uncharted 2, right? Shambhala.
Yes.
I get some of them mixed up. But yeah, in Shambhala, I don't want to lose you again. And so that's kind of like solidifying their relationship and their love for each other. It was a really cool aspect of the story for sure. From there, we hit up Uncharted 3. And again, this was the first Uncharted that I ever played. I even after playing it this time again, I think for the trilogy, it's my favorite story. I feel like it got super personal. It really hit the drama again between Drake, Elena, and Sully, really focusing a lot on Sully and the risk of losing him, doing the first step into the past, like, Drake as a kid, his first meeting with Sully and all that stuff. I loved it. Like, I loved all that story. This one is the first one that, like, I feel like the cinematography the most stepped up in this one. Like, you have that bar fight, and they like are doing panning of like the bar, and just everything around this game just stepped up another notch.
I agree. The cinematography for this game, you could tell that they were building off of what they have done in Uncharted 1 and 2, and they're getting better and better at it. And this one was just like the beginning, like you said, the bar scene, the fight scene, like a lot of like the first like half hour of the game felt like a beginning of a movie. Like it felt like
it really
this was the series, or this was Uncharted 2 was great as far as set piece and things like this, but this is really when it started to have a lot of storytelling within the direction of this game, where the camera was in certain scenes, it felt like a movie was being shot.
Yeah, it almost started almost like a spy movie at the beginning.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
see
for sure.
Drake and Sully all dolled up and
wearing their suits and then kind of pulling one over on the villains that they introduced pretty quickly, Talbot and Judi Dench, aka Scary Poppins,
yes,
aka Catherine Marlowe.
And
like in that whole, them getting fake shot by Cutter, who was another character that was introduced in Uncharted 3. Definitely had like a spy feel to it, because they faked that they got shot only to get what they needed to get in order to go to the next clue or whatever. To I forget what they're looking for in this one. They're looking for something to do with Drake. It's starting to all run together, but you remember, you were there. But yeah, what a setup. Like, it was a great opening. Definitely a different feel than Uncharted 2, because Uncharted 2 was all about climbing the train and like almost dying, and this one's like got that different cool factor to it. I love the bathroom fight against the brute, and just slamming his head off of a toilet and I'm pretty sure they used the sink to just pretty much just destroy his face. Only his mother will love him after that encounter. Yeah. So what other highlights did you guys like from Uncharted 3, Patrick?
The one of the biggest memories I have of Uncharted 3 was the desert level, and like you said, the falling. This was the airplane.
This is the airplane
where he falls out of the airplane, which was an amazing scene out of itself. Like, and then just getting down there, because this is a whole new setting that we haven't seen in any of the Uncharted games. Like, just a huge desert, and then just like that, like 15 minutes of him talking to himself and mirages and things like that. It was like finally it slowed down just a little bit, because you're doing all these, gunfights and running and chasing and driving and all this stuff. And then after the plane crashes and he's in the desert by himself, that was really like a really cool scene. Really cool, like just setting, like he just finally finds that lost city or whatever it was in the desert. But as he was getting through there, he was just like, you could see him just being beaten down. His whole, like, the graphics started to get better in this game. You could tell, like, his lips were dry, he was thirsty, and you could tell for the facial animations about this. I loved that scene. It was also one of those scenes where you want to take a screenshot when you're playing, like, I don't take a lot of screenshots, but this was great. Like, he's just like, in the background, you see this, just plane is just wrecked, and he's just looking off in the distance with his scarf. Like, it's one of the most iconic scenes to me, I think, in all of video games. That scene right there.
Yeah.
Loved it.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and the games are pretty much linear, and then you get to that scene and you're just walking in the desert. Like, am I going the right way?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna push the stick and hope something happens.
Yeah. And they drag it out a little bit, like not too much, but they get you doubting. And then at one point he's like, I'm lost. I've been here already. Oh
yeah, where he finds the dry well the second time around.
Which has a collectible in it, so you can't miss it. you gotta shoot a pot or jump in the well. I can't remember what you do, but yeah, this one, again, like we talked about with Uncharted 2, it has a lot of locales. Like, you have the burning down chateau. You get chased by way too many spiders, which reminds me that bugs are not cool, especially when there's a lot of them. And you do have, later on, you also have, Sully's quote unquote death, where he gets shot in a hallucination.
Yes.
That one's a pretty tough moment if you don't know what's going on. And it's like, that's the closest it comes to like a main character seeming like they're going to die. And it's a pretty powerful moment. And then of course it gets like that happens, and then you get these fire people zapping around, and you're like, is this going zombies? Like, is this going all crazy? Whatever it's called, where
he's
it's the
hallucinating.
water.
Supernatural, like getting supernatural, and then they explain it out as hallucinating, in which that's a thing throughout the whole thing. Like Cutter gets hit with a dart and starts hallucinating, tries to beat up Drake, and you get in a big fight with him, and then I think in one of the towns
In the market.
In the market, Drake gets hit with one, and then is trying to chase Talbot and all that jazz. But yeah, they really play into that, lean into that, and I think it adds a little element to it, a little psychological element, which was pretty cool for it. I did not like fighting those fire demon dudes.
Nobody
took more shots to kill, and then they were zooming all over the place. Yeah, not a fan.
Never enough bullets in your sniper rifle.
No, for sure not enough.
They had the crossbows that you could pick up, correct?
Yes.
Did those have crossbows?
Pretty sure.
I can't remember. I remember the crossbows in 2, because in 2 we didn't talk about.
Or
there
was
were
it in
those.
2?
Those were those Yeti-like guys in 2 that had the crossbows that were like, like they would.
Yeah, where you meet one
sounds.
with Tenzin.
Yeah.
And you have the Ruger or whatever.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So, I thought the ending was kind of like a carbon copy of 2. Like you find a huge city, and then you fight the bad guys, and then you escape, which was a little like, wait, didn't we already do this in 2? Is this kind of like a repeat? But I mean, it's still fun, and it was still really cool. I don't know how you guys felt about. I know that I've heard podcasts and critics talk about how 2 and 3 are like pretty much the same game. What was your guys' experience with?
It's okay
with that.
I mean,
you're all right with that?
Yeah, I'm totally fine with it. They're different enough. I mean, like I don't know how different you're gonna. I mean, like when you're finding lost treasure, it's probably gonna be underground. You know, like where else do you think they're gonna be? You know, so I was totally fine with it.
Yeah,
but that last fight with Talbot was not what I expected. Because weren't you saying you hate QTEs? Yeah, and there was a bunch of them.
Yeah, there was some button mashing. At least it felt like I could react. Like, you're standing there with him, and you just press like a dodge button. It was almost a step towards then on Uncharted 4 doing the sword fight against Rafe. Like playing each of these games, you can see like little bits where it's like that led to then a later Uncharted where they took it up a notch. And so I didn't mind that so much. I did think it was weird. Like I thought it was weird that final showdown area where Marlo gets going, she gets sucked into the sand. Like most of that was just a cutscene. Like there wasn't really a final fight. And then you had a bunch of cutscenes, and you're running, and then you fight Talbot right at the end. And then, Sully saves your butt. And, you have that moment at the end where he pretty much, he says, here, take this. This is the only ring you need. And it's in his wedding ring. And has that cool moment to just kind of, again, Elena and Nate having their moment at the end of the game was fitting for sure. All right, so next up, Uncharted 4. I'm just gonna say it now. It's my favorite Uncharted. It is so amazing. Like it just gets better with time. Like I can't.
The graphical leap from Uncharted 3 to Uncharted 4 is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's like 1 to 2.
I don't even. It's even better. It's even more than that. It's like
it did help that you played the PS5. You played
Uncharted
the PS5
3.
version. Sure. Yeah.
It was just like it was. And I replayed it when they released the Legacy of Thieves collection. So I don't know. I can't remember what it looked like when I was playing on PS4, but I assume it was very similar. But it was just, man, this was the like you said, It is also mine. This is my favorite Uncharted. A lot of reasons for this, not just the graphics, but the way the game ended. And you get that epilogue scene with his daughter, and you're like, oh, I for some reason when I first played it, I thought it was Elena when she was young. I was like, oh, they're going back to Elena when she was young, playing some Crash Bandicoot. And then I didn't realize, like, wait a second, this is, I see Nate's stuff. You know, it looks like some Elena's here, and then she says something about mom and dad or whatever, and I'm like, no way, this is a daughter. And then, like, oh, that was a great way to end, quote unquote, end the Uncharted saga, the Nathan Drake saga.
The Nathan Drake saga. Yeah. This one, I feel like this one,
everything.
They stepped it up in every way, for sure. And they, kind of retconning, it felt like a little bit, not in a bad way, but just all of a sudden, hey, I have a brother. He died, some time ago. But the whole putting in of the brother, I remember when I first heard or saw like there was going to be a brother, I'm like, are you serious? They're just going to add this like super important family member? But they did such a good job. Of course, Troy Baker is a national treasure. He is such a good voice actor. So he and the voice of Nathan Drake, what is his name?
Nolan North.
Thank you, Nolan North. What a pair they are together, along with Sully and along with everybody. Like, there is not a weak link in Uncharted 4. Like, every single character is important. Every single character has a contribution. The villains, I think Rafe is a very menacing, like, he could explode and destroy you, your family, your pets. He could destroy you all in the blink of an eye, like with one angry swipe. Like, yeah, it's all across the board.
Yeah, and the pacing of this, I mean, like when they're in the prison and you get to know Rafe early on, and the way his character arc develops through the rest of the game, you're like, man, he is the bad guy. Like, this guy was written to be the bad guy. It wasn't just like, this is just a bad guy. He's going to be Lazarevich and also all of a sudden get really powerful, or he's going to be, a Talbot and get all of a sudden get really powerful. Now, this guy was just like, this was a grounded, just a bad guy. I think this is what, again, like we talked about the villains earlier. This is by far the best villain in any of the games.
Yeah, it kind of brought Uncharted back from all the supernatural stuff to a more grounded story.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, it's like they said, we don't need to do the grounded, or we don't need to do the supernatural stuff anymore. We're going to go all in on not just the adventure part of it. Like, they had really cool set pieces, like getting drugged through the mud, like when you grapple onto the truck, like that whole scene from the pirate church, the churches in the Madagascar, the whole Madagascar one, like front to back, when you get to the Madagascar landscape with the huge trees, and you kind of have like that open world area where you're using your rented Jeep with the pulley on it, and that being a running joke. Everything about that, the winch, is beautiful. And then arriving at, you separate between you and Sully and Sam, and then that whole chase scene of like trying to get to your brother and then getting drugged through the mud and then meeting up with them, and they're like, one's in the car and one's in Sam's on the motorcycle and Nate's on the car, and he's like, they're both like, all right, come to me. And they're like, no, I'm way faster on the motorcycle. I'll fine. And that whole just series of unfortunate events, culminating in, of course, one of the backward scenes where you're shooting a truck that's chasing you while you're on the back of Sam's motorcycle. What a rush. Like, it's so good. So good.
Yeah, there's some serious chase scenes in this. Like, it felt like impending doom when especially down like one of those corridors, and it's just like that vehicle is just coming at you. Like, I don't know if I'm going to get out of this. And really, really cool scene there.
Yeah, they took the truck from 3 and basically made it even more menacing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
it's like truck. Like, oh, even in the where the truck first comes in when you're in the market, and then you can climb up on top of the little shops or whatever shack, and you could jump off and punch people. I died intentionally 3 or 4 times just so I could keep doing that.
Oh, really?
That's such a great animation where you
That
just
is a
jumped
great
off there and
feeling.
boom.
Yeah, you had that when you got to Libertalia, and you got some parts where you slide down
Oof.
some mud, and then you could just jump in the air and punch them.
That whole Libertalia area with the whole like the pirate, backstory of with Avery and all that.
That was so cool.
So well done. I was so interested. I wanted to read about everyone, like when you're going through the puzzles about all the different pirates that are the paintings and things like that. You're like, who are these guys? I wanted to learn more about these because the backstory was there, and it was really
for sure.
really really good reason. Like, okay, it's not just Avery. Like, you got all these other pirates. You come across this big huge table, and every single one of the pirates is dead, and you find out the reason why. Like, it was really well done. Very good backstory. It wasn't just run and gun. This was more story driven, more backstory, more development, more exposition. I'm a story driven kind of guy, and this gave it to me in spades.
For sure. The way they weaved not just those stories, like with the pirates and then Sam and Nate and Elena, like the way they interweaved all of that was masterful. Like,
it was.
There was some symbolism. There was like some allusions to other things in the future, like the whole conversations between the up and downs with Elena was just like it feels like a real marriage, and it feels like a real relationship, and it's heartbreaking. In one moment you're like, Drake, you're an idiot. Either Drake, just pick a Drake, you're an idiot. To the next moment being like, you were trying your best, and like that talk. I think it's even the name of the chapter is For Better or For Worse, when they're going up that elevator and he's like, why'd you come back? And she's like, for better, for worse, sickness and in health, like, saying her vows. And it's like, oh,
yeah.
wow.
And we didn't talk about that, where he goes off on this expedition and doesn't even tell her that he's doing this. And when she is in like the hotel, and they walk into the hotel room and she's there like looking at everything, like
gut punch.
It was a definite gut punch. And when she's like, you realize what you're doing, and you're bringing Sully with you. Like, Sully is going to go to the ends of the earth for you. And you're going to, like, why are you doing this to Sully? Like, she didn't even like, she was kind of saying it about herself, but she was like, don't bring him into there because he'll die for you. So that was a really, really like powerful scene, because you could see with the, facial animation was 10 out of 10. You could see that he was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, I did this. I knew this was coming. And I got caught, and I was expect to get caught. I'm married to Elena. It's like,
it's not like in the other ones where they're like on and off again or whatever.
No, and Sully was telling him before she came into that scene, he was telling her, you've got to tell her. You've got to tell her what you're doing when he's doing the fake phone. Oh yeah, that's taking a little longer, honey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he, and like you were saying, the facial animations of Sully, where he just got that look of disgust on his face. Like,
well, at this point, Sully is like the wise sage. Like he's been around the block. He's like, listen, bud, you got to be straight with your wife. You got to tell her what's going on. And at the same time, like, you could see the way he's giving side eye to Sam, which is really just an allusion to, Sam's story being fake. Like, that one for me, that was the first big one where it's like, wait, what? Like, all this time we're like guiding Drake to save Sam's life, and Sam he wants the treasure. And of course they do a good job of then bringing you back, making you care for Sam and not just focusing on the betrayal, like the whole stuff when they're kids and they break into that house. And again, the storytelling is amazing, and they make you get angry, and then all of a sudden they give you, let's give you a little backstory so you don't at least hate Sam as much as some of the other characters do. And yeah, it's so good. So good.
I'm not sure I'd have went after him. I was so disgusted with him at that point.
Yeah, it's understandable. It's understandable, but blood runs thicker than water. So we got to go with our boy Drake, the Drake brothers.
Yeah, they did a really good job with. I mean, I know Troy Baker's been in everything, but making Sam look like he had a life in the last 15 years.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, he didn't come off like looking like Rafe, who was the pretty boy.
Yeah,
he came off like looking like I have been in some places, and we could have some stories.
For sure. We kind of scooted by this, but I really loved the home scene with Elena and Nate, like where you're up in the attic.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
You have the
So
little
good.
pop gun,
Nice.
pop gun moment with the little plates with the Yeti faces on it, and like finding the little things in the music. And I mean, you get that there, and then you get that, like you talked about, Patrick, in the epilogue, whereas Nate and Elena's daughter, you pick up stuff and it plays the music, and it's like, oh man, I just played that game last week. It feels so nostalgic. But I just love when they play Crash Bandicoot to see who's going to do the dishes. And I think out of the 3 or 4 times I played the Crash Bandicoot, I think I only beat her one time, and it was for the trophy, because you get a trophy for beating her. But all the other times I couldn't beat her score. Like, she has a near perfect score in that Crash Bandicoot level.
I will be doing the dishes forever.
Yeah, pretty much. Dishes for life.
Yeah. Well, Uncharted 4 was the first game I had ever pre-ordered in my entire life.
Oh, really?
Wow.
And
Nice.
Trish and I were living in a townhouse, and it was always kind of sketchy getting our mail. And I remember I took the day off. Well, I took the day off originally for the first release day, and the stupid game got delayed. So I had the day off for no reason. So then, but when it did release, I'm like, I've ordered it on Amazon. It's like tracking it. It's out for delivery, and I'm driving around our little town looking for the UPS driver.
Wow.
Where are you? Give me my game.
And it was a lady UPS driver, and I pulled up. I said, "Hey, do you have a package for Tim Paullin?" And she's like, "I do. I couldn't find your place," and it was laying on the dash of her UPS truck. I'm like, "I will take that." She goes, "Can I see some ID?" And I'm like, "Crap."
Oh no. I think that's a fitting way to respond to an Uncharted game. Oh crap.
Oh crap.
No.
Oh, that's funny. I will shout out to the ending, the Goonies ending of a pirate ship in a cave. I loved it. Grew up watching Goonies many times, and I just was like, you guys, I know Goonies had to inspire you at least a little bit for this ending. What an ending. I can't say that I was initially a big fan of introducing a completely different way to fight with the sword fighting. At the end, that was tough, especially on crushing. I had to use slow-mo at some point so I could react fast enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I love. So that's the way to do a boss fight without using QTE.
Right.
Without having press A here or press X here or
It's
left
almost
here.
like a punch out. Like, you got to dodge.
You
and
have to
then
watch
punch.
the mannerisms of what Rafe was doing to actually defeat him, which is the right way to do it. The great end boss fight where it's like two levels where it's just like, hey, they're fighting, and all of a sudden fire everywhere, and Nadine was it Nadine who just locked him in there? Like, all right, see you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna let you boys play amongst yourselves. I got what I came for. See ya.
Right.
Yeah. It was a really fun ending. Like you said, the end boss battle, the epilogue. What an ending to the saga.
Chef's kiss.
They couldn't end. Yeah, total chef's kiss. They couldn't end in a better way. 10 out of 10. It's top 10 game for me.
It is arguably one of the best games of all time.
Yeah.
Yep. Do we all give it around 10 out of 10, 9.5, 9? What numbers do you throw out there?
It's a 10. It's a 10 for me.
Yeah, it's right up there. It's 9.5, 10. I can't think anything I didn't like about it.
Right. For sure. Good game.
And pirates.
Yeah. Right.
You can't go wrong with pirates.
I mean, I love Black Flag. So this was my game.
That's true. And they gave a lot of like story time, like you talked about, Patrick. Like they really fleshed out the tale of, Henry Avery and Thomas II, I think is what he was called, and like all the pirates, and even a little for those that played Adventures of Monkey Island. One of the pirates was Thrushbrush. I can't remember his name. Someone who's a fan of Monkey Island.
It's like Goodwin Thornbrush or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's like something crazy, but he totally was throughout the whole game, and I love them putting that in there, an ode to the old action and the old point and click game. Adventures of Monkey Island.
Guybrush Threepwood.
Oh my gosh, I would not have remembered that. Guybrush Threepwood.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, totally fake. I want to say most of those pirates were actual historical pirates, right?
Yeah,
I didn't look it up.
Except for Monkey Island guy.
I did look up Avery, and he's got a whole Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, more reading than I had time for. Like,
of course.
Wow, I could dig into this.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. But yeah, wow. What a story.
Mm-hmm.
The final Uncharted, Lost Legacy. We can't finish our hexology without, of course, mentioning Uncharted Lost Legacy, which is the only Uncharted game to not feature Nathan Drake, though there is a Drake that does show up partway through the game, which was a nice surprise. This was my first time playing Lost Legacy. I didn't get to it on PS4, so I played it on PS5 with the Thieves Mega Super Collection of 2 games. And I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was a good, fun little romp. It was weird not to play as Nate, I will say. But Chloe really, I feel like they kind of but they kind of adjusted her character a little bit to make her more Nathan Drake-like. I don't remember her being so knowledgeable and treasure focused or so quippy. I think she was quippy in the other ones, but she really knew her onions, as my grandfather would say. Like Indian culture, it was really cool to do something in a culture that I don't really know a lot about. So really getting ingrained with Indian culture was pretty cool. What did you guys think of Lost Legacy?
Lost Legacy.
Or Patrick.
No, go Pat. Go Pat.
Yeah,
I thought Pat was going to take a drink of something, so I called Tim just to make sure someone said something.
No, Lost Legacy has some flaws to it. It was like they used the wench way too many times in this game. There was way too much driving in this, fake open world.
Right.
The best part of this game was Nadine and Chloe and their relationship and their chemistry together.
Yes.
It was really, really good. Way better than I thought it was going to be, because when I went in to play Lost Legacy, I'm like, there's Nathan Drake, no Victor Sullivan, no Elena Fisher. Like, that's why we play Uncharted games, is that trio right there. And now we're playing with side characters. Like, I didn't go in there expecting much, but that was a nice surprise to have that character development and get a little bit of backstory about who these people are, because Nadine was like the bad guy in one of the bad guys in Uncharted 4. So
sure.
So seeing like a little of a softer side to Nadine and a little softer side of Chloe, get more story development or character development with them was nice to see. I feel like Sam in this game was just they're just gonna throw all the side characters in here. Like I felt like Sam was just in here just like
comic
third
relief.
wheel kind of
Yeah.
thing where
He was just there to add a little bit of wittiness, a little extra wittiness.
a little humor, a little bit. He was like an idiot, and
He really
like,
was. He was
really,
like, "What is happening right now? I've got
yeah.
this. I don't know where are we going. I'm just gonna drive off. I'll see you later."
The ending, what I felt was it was too long. I felt like the ending fell flat to me. It was a good view at the end, but it was like after the train ride, it's like all of a sudden Sam's on the end of the railroad, like, hey guys,
He's like, "Hey guys, I made it.
So glad you guys, like, how did you where were you, Sam? Like, how in the world have you got, like, what kind of, I don't know how he was there. It made no sense.
Yeah.
But
that's
like,
how he was. Like, even there were points where the three of them were together and Sam's like cutting in front of them, or when they're lifting up stuff, Sam's like, you girls go ahead, lift up the rocks, lift up the heavy stuff.
Yeah. Push the train car.
Yeah. You got it covered. I'll be over here.
Yeah. I think going from the open world and driving around from location to location on like the different parts of the map and trying to get there, like, I felt like I was being turned around way too much. The map looked bigger than it was. Like, all of a sudden you're driving for like 12 seconds and you're already there, or you're close to it. It's like, how do I even get there? Like, it's I felt it was bad design. There were like also points between the locations where you needed to go, where there were enemies, and there's no point in being in that section other than to get collectibles. Like, there was like, just, it didn't make any sense to me to have those like sections of enemies. This was I mean, like I say this, I had a lot of fun with this. Very good story. They used the storytelling from they had from Uncharted 4, and they infused it into this Lost Legacy. It's more like a DLC type of game. It didn't feel like a full game to me. But still, nonetheless, I did really love this game because of the chemistry between Nadine and Chloe. Yeah. This is, I think I gave this the score maybe like a 7.5 out of 10, 8 out of 10. It was just a step above Uncharted 1 for me.
Yep, same here. Tim, how about you, buddy? What'd you think of Lost Legacy?
Yeah, a lot like what Patrick was saying, but the relationship starts out so rocky at the beginning, where they're just business partners. Like the opening scene where they're running through the city. Then they had me when we were sliding down and using the zip lines. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And then they're bickering back and forth, and then they start to get along, and then along comes Sam.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like he was necessary. I think it would have still been a good game without him.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Probably my favorite part of the whole game is at the end where you jump the Jeep into the train.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was pretty.
I'm like, okay, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Oh my goodness. Like, how am I going to get on the train? Oh, this is how.
Oh, we'll just do it this way. Yeah, I feel like the train overall was, I thought it was a bit of an ode to Uncharted 2. Like, it had the same feel, like making your way forward, and they definitely amped it up. Other than Uncharted 2 definitely still has the craziest moment where you find the tank on the train and then you shoot the helicopter and like all that stuff transpiring is nuts. But like you said, Tim, like driving that Jeep, jumping that Jeep into the train and getting to the end of the track and fighting glasses was crazy. Was super crazy.
It was nice getting a backstory of Chloe, because she was kind of a harlot in the other games,
right?
And they kind of made her more adult. They dressed her down, and didn't make her look as that much of a I'm just chasing men for treasure,
right? And
more of a, okay, I have a reason. And she kept bringing up the little Ganesh. Is it not Ganesh? What, the Ganesh?
The Ganesh,
the token.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we finally figured out what that was for. And
wasn't that a cool moment though? Where
she
puts it in and she's like, my dad was here, and she starts to like tear up. It's like, And
that was a very good part of the story too, where they're they helped that elephant out, and then they
Oh,
just
man,
start
that
riding
elephant
on the
moment.
elephants.
I feel like that elephant moment was definitely, it's not as high on par, but it was definitely a giraffe moment for this game. Like,
Yes.
it was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that's cool, you know? Like, you
Yeah.
help reunite this little family,
Uh-huh.
and you just kind of have a sit back and just ride the elephant, like just hang out with the elephant. It was a cool moment.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, forgot about that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I too, I did not enjoy the fake open world where I was like looking at the map and it was like multiple levels of bridges and crossovers. There were parts where Nadine's like, "Oh, be careful, we got some enemies up ahead," and I just blew by them in the Jeep. I was like,
right.
I ain't got time to fight you guys. I got to get to this last part to open up all these little channels so we can get into the secret huge, Elephant Man palace. Come on, I just blow by them and they're like, "Hey, look out, get them," and then I just go by them and forget
When
about
you
them.
had to get all the medallions so you could get the little wrist bracelet that told you where treasure was.
No, I
Or
didn't
did you
have,
you didn't? Oh, sorry.
I didn't have to do
Forgot
that.
you've only played that one. Oh, okay. I'll shut up now.
Oh no, it's fine.
No.
I didn't feel like doing collectibles when I was playing this. I had already delayed playing Lost Legacy way too long for the GMG VGBC. So I was just like, all right, put it on easy. Let's go. I'll do collectibles another day. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't get any of that stuff.
Yeah, you'll have to let us know what you think when you get to that part.
Oh, is it pretty cool?
Yeah, it is kind of cool. I wish every game had it now.
Yeah. Nice.
But
I'll
that's
keep an eye
kind
out
of a
for it.
spoiler, so I'll just.
Oh, it's fine. I'll forget. By tomorrow morning, I'm like, he said something about a wrist blade or wrist treasure thing. I don't know. But yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. But and I honestly wouldn't mind more DLC, like more stories with, again, because I feel like these Uncharted 4 characters, now Lost Legacy characters, like I care about all their stories. Like I really liked Nadine and I liked them giving her a softer side. And of course she got angry and socked Chloe in the face over Sam. But even then, by the end, she got over, they became frenemies, and I'm all right with that. I like that kind of dynamic, the frenemy dynamic. So
I respectfully disagree. I think the next game
fine,
that should
be that way.
It should be a family game.
No, I'm not saying what it should be. I agree with you. It should be a family game. Go ahead, give us the vision.
No, I
What do you want
feel
next?
like what at the epilogue, their daughter is like, when are you gonna take me on one of your trips, or they're or whatever. It's like, I want that. I want it to be Elena and Nate and their daughter. Can't remember what the daughter's name is. Cassie. Have them go on a excursion together, whether that's I don't, maybe not when she's like that young. Give her a few years, maybe late teens,
get her
early 20s,
Laura
or something
Croft
like that.
age, like a young Laura Croft.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe do flashbacks back when she's like somewhere in between the end of Uncharted 4 and like the current time in the game, like do flashbacks with Elena.
I think that would be really, really neat.
Sure.
They alluded to some of that too, because there was like magazine article or a cover with Cassie on the front
exploring
a treasure.
Yeah. So she was already had the taste and was already doing stuff. Now at that point, she didn't know about the guns and the myrtleizing that her dad had done, and
the 4,000 deaths that occurred.
Yeah, you killed how many people? It wasn't a big deal. They were pirates.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I'm all in on that. If I hope Naughty Dog goes back and discontinues the Uncharted saga with the family.
Yeah. Stop remastering games that are just 3 years old. Give me a new story for Uncharted. I want it.
Yes.
Yep.
I mean,
I want it.
They remaster them and I play them. I buy them and I play them. So Naughty Dog is one of those companies where I'm just like developers where I'm like, I trust you implicitly. You say you're going to be bringing out a game, whether that's Uncharted or Last of Us or something else. I'm going to buy your game because your track record precedes yourself.
For sure.
Yeah, when they
They've-
announced there was going to be a 4K version, I'm like, I'm not buying that. And then they're like, it's $10 if you own the disc.
I know you hear this. Here's
There
the
you go.
$10.
Just put the disc in. Here's my $10. Thank you. Yeah. All right. As we wrap things up, we do have some joiner comments, questions,
Okay.
wanderings, some of which we've already kind of answered, but we need to make definitive answers for the sake of our joiners. So,
All right.
Delvin Cox at Delvin_Cox on Twitter said, I love this series. We're right there with
Yeah.
you, Delvin. He said, my favorite is probably 4, but I don't know if I would love it so much if I wasn't along for the journey with the other 4, the Vita version included, of course.
Sure.
So, question is, which one is your favorite, and how do the others play into it being that?
Yeah, you can't have the epic ending to Uncharted 4 without the Uncharted 1, 2, or 3. I
Yeah,
mean, that's just
true.
what it is. I mean, like, you have to have those. The reason why Uncharted 4 was so good is because 1, 2, and 3 were done so well.
It's the end game effect. Like, it's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
it's like it all plays into this, and then they do it and pull it off so well that it's like, I can't not love it.
Right.
I mean, you can pull out Golden Abyss, and then we still have a great series.
Yeah, for sure.
So
That's true.
And that card game nobody played.
the Fortunes or whatever it's called. Like,
yes.
Did you play that, Tim?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
haven't
I heard
played it. I've only
nothing
heard
good
of it.
about it.
No, but yeah, my favorite is Uncharted 4, and it's partially because every other game plays into it. It perfectly just wraps up all the strings and perfectly aligns the stars, the relationships, the interweaving stories, the treasure hunt, the graphics, everything about it is glorious. Flashbacks, everything. So good.
Yeah, it's not my favorite, but it's second.
What's your favorite?
Number 2, Uncharted
Number
2.
Number
Yep.
2 still your favorite?
Yep, it's still my favorite.
It's a great choice.
I can respect that.
There's not a bad one. I mean, realistically, just some of them didn't age quite as well.
Sure.
Yeah. There's not a bad one. At the time it was released, it was super good. But then as time went on, we realized you could do better.
Yeah, and I think Lucas, you mentioned it, like, oh well, 3 was your first one, but 3 was always my one I didn't like. Like, I really don't like this game. And then I played it again when it got, when the trilogy got remastered. Like, this is a pretty good game. Like, yeah, this is all right. I didn't like it on PS3. Like, it was my least favorite of the 3.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then it came back, and now it's probably third, and then probably 1 and Lost Legacy is actually last.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, 1 step ahead of Golden Abyss.
True. Yeah.
Rough.
Yeah. For sure. On Discord, Chris the Rock, he said, "Oh, nice. GG. I'm so pumped for this episode, even though I bailed. We do not judge you, Chris. You are a hardworking man, and you helped form. It is a little, you did help us form the list this year, and then you proceeded to say, I'm not going to do this first game.
I know. Thanks, Chris.
But to your credit, Chris, you did play on Mass Effect 1 and 2, I think, through the end of last year and beginning of this year. So we'll allow it. And now you're working hard at Horizon Forbidden West, and I'm trying to catch up with you. But he has some quickfire questions. I'm not sure we'll be able to do it quickfire, but we need to do our best. So we've already answered this first one. Number 1, favorite out of the 6. I'm Uncharted 4.
4.
Patrick?
Yep, 4.
And Tim?
2.
Yes. Now, number 2 is, what do you think is the most underrated of the games?
Uncharted 3.
Underrated.
Yeah.
I would agree. Uncharted 3,
Yep.
I feel like is underrated. What is the most overrated?
Lost Legacy. I mean, I think that's the only middle of the road one that I feel like.
Yeah, and I don't even know if it was rated that high.
I don't even remember what the rating was, but I'm going to go with Lost Legacy.
Okay. Um.
It's
Yeah,
tough.
I don't know. That's a hard one. I can't go fast on that one. I don't know that. I don't feel like. Yeah, I guess I'll just to be different. I'll say Uncharted One because Uncharted One's just some of the controls and stuff.
Sure.
It's like, oh, it's the beginning. It's like the new hope of the Uncharted series, and it's like you go back and you're like, yeah, no, not really.
But the one-liners from Sully at the beginning are just so
That's
good.
true. You're right. You're right.
Like trying to find a bride in a brothel.
Oh man. All right. Number 3, most beautiful character.
What does that mean?
He didn't say. You have to decide for yourself.
Wow.
Who is the most beautiful character in the Uncharted series?
Ooh, beautiful. I'm gonna say Cutter. Cutter was one of those guys. You look at him, he looks like he's just a thug, but he was super, super smart. Like he knew everything that Nate did. He maybe even more. So I'm gonna go with Cutter.
All right.
That's good. Cause he was schooling him. Like, do you guys ever read?
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't do that right, Tim. I want to hear that with a British accent.
Oh, I can't. You're the expert of the British.
Do
what
you
I know of the
blokes
British
ever read?
Hey, that's not bad.
Just say blokes. You say blokes and bloody and the British B words. Just throw those out there. All right, Tim. Most beautiful character.
Believe it or not, I'm gonna go with Nadine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
because I mean, in Uncharted, at the beginning of Uncharted 4, she's just drop dead gorgeous. Because where we meet her, she's all dolled up, and I'm like, who's this character?
That's true.
Oh yeah, with her arms hanging out. My gosh, you're like, oh, don't mess with her.
No, where she beats the living tar out of Nate in the library.
In the library, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna go 3-part answer for this. The original trilogy, I think Chloe is the most beautiful character. But once you bring in Uncharted 4, it's Elena, outside and in. But when it's all said and done, when you take all 6 games into account, Sully is the most beautiful character.
Attaboy.
Number 4, favorite gun.
West 44.
I was thinking one of those one-shotters, right? West 44, Desert Eagle.
Yeah, it was basically Sully's 6-shooter.
Yeah.
No,
it's a good one.
What was the handgun in Uncharted 4? It was, I don't know. I don't think it was a Desert Eagle.
Was it Desert 5?
Maybe it was the Desert 5.
Desert 5? Maybe it's Desert 5. Yeah.
I like that because it was like 6 shots in there, and basically it was a one shot every single time with that.
Yeah. I will say just the good old fashioned grenade launcher, as Tim Paullin likes to do the thunk sound. Sometimes when you get the infinite ammo and you just get the grenade launcher and just stand in a corner and just fire, thunk, 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 and just blow everybody up. I find that to be fun. So, yeah. All right. Favorite mission. This might be a hard one to choose. Just one mission.
Oh, wow.
Favorite mission
of all the Uncharted games.
Uncharted favorite mission.
Shoot, that is quick fire. Oh man.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say for better or for worse, the one I mentioned before, where Nate and Elena reunite on Libertalia, the island of Libertalia, and they make amends, and Elena's pretty much like, you're not getting rid of me, we're in it for life.
It's a good one.
So.
I'm gonna go with the it's also in Uncharted 4, and it is the one where they are in the pirates house or whatever, when they find all of the pirates at that round table.
I think that's called New Devon.
New Devon.
Yeah, it's New Devon.
That was my favorite
chapter.
I
whatever.
That was cool to just explore.
Yeah.
So rich.
Sunken pirate city.
Mm-hmm.
I think mine might be 3, the ship graveyard where you get dropped in there.
Oh,
That's your favorite?
I love that.
You
no
love
way.
you love suffering.
Yeah, because you
And
could go
punishment.
underwater, come up on the other side of them.
Dude, that
Oh,
was
man.
like instant hepatitis or instant. I got hepatitis A through Z just looking at that.
I screenshotted that where he's climbing up the side of the ship. I'm like,
Yeah,
what's going?
that is cool.
Yeah,
And I do love how that ends when you're in the boat, the cruise liner, and the whatever the guy's name is, busts the glass. The 6-shooter guy that had the hat. He reminds me of the Mexican guy from Three Amigos.
Look it up.
El Guapo's right hand man. Oh, El Guapo.
It's not Eddie. It's not Eddie Rojas, is it?
No, this
That's
is
from Uncharted 1 or 2.
Yeah, it's the pirate that has the big like bowler hat, and he has
Oh yeah.
He's
The
the one
bullet.
that where Nate's tied down. You meet him when Nate's tied down to the chair.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to even look it up, and
I don't remember. his
He was
name.
like that guy was like a Metal Gear Solid type of character.
He
Like, what
was.
is the way he felt out of place?
Yeah. He's like, but you know what, Drake? I like you, so I'm not gonna kill you yet. And like just like that kind of stuff. It was like goofy. Last one while Tim's looking that up. Last question for the quickfire is: do you want another, or are you good with only new IPs? Do you want another Uncharted? Patrick, you already answered this,
give
but
me
answer it again.
give me more. I want more.
Yep, me too. I want more Uncharted. It can be fresh Uncharted, like with the family, but it's a new story, but it's with the fresh faces still.
Yeah.
Tim?
yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah, give me another one.
Sweet.
And I don't know what that villain was. I can't remember. I can't
That's
find it.
fine. He was-
But yes, yeah, I've like we said before, if it's a Naughty Dog game, we're buying it.
for sure.
And I don't
For
even know
sure.
where they would go with the story. I mean, yeah, Cassie would be a great.
Yeah, I think Cassie's the no-brainer. Good way to go. Have a
Well,
little bit of.
Would
Go
you
ahead.
would you take a Sully Sam game? Because they're kind of going off on their own
Sure.
at the end.
I mean, I would take that too.
Is it Ramses?
yeah, that could be it. Yeah, Ramses.
It could be Ramses. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds
Yeah, that sounds right.
rightish. There you go. Good eye.
All right.
Pat fact.
Ugh.
What was that?
Yeah.
All right.
You don't get the big huge explosion like the Marc packs. You get the
Just gotta
me.
squeak that one out.
Is this what
All
it's
right.
like every week?
That is correct. All right. Well, speaking of, that is all we got for this first GMG VGBC chat about the Uncharted hexology. See you next time for our Horizon Forbidden West spoilercast coming up eventually when I can finish it. I think I just left like the opening area, so let's do this.
You got time.
Yeah, got a little time. But yeah, if you, dear joiners and listeners, if you are the giving type, please rate and review us on Apple Podcast and Podchaser and Spotify. It helps us reach new joiners, whether you want to give us stars, exclamation marks, feedback, or an encouraging word. Tim and Patrick, do you have any final words before we sign off?
929 GMG guys, call in.
Yeah, there you
Oh
go.
yeah. Wow.
Get a voicemail going.
Only
Thank
once,
you.
Burnaby.
Yeah. One voicemail limit, thanks to old El Ronches Butters.
No, I don't have any final thoughts other than one of the best franchises of all time.
Sick
It's to me
Parvis Magma.
Yeah.
Sick Parvis Magma. Magna.
not Magna with an N.
Magma
N-
is lava, right?
Yeah. Liquid hot magma.
That's all I got. Sick Parvis Magna.
Yeah, no,
day.
Uncharted franchise for me is up there as far as one of the best franchises next to Resident Evil for me.
Yeah.
Love. I will play Resident Evil games over again and Uncharted games. I'm so glad that I was able to play all of them in just it's just a short time. Because when you play these games, after a few years, you kind of forget some things. But
Right.
when you play all the games, back to back, it really felt like one big cohesive story outside
Yeah,
of Golden
for
Abyss.
sure.
That was a weird story.
I was kind
Yeah.
of sad when it was over.
I know,
Agreed.
right?
I was too.
I'm like,
Bittersweet.
maybe I'll go back and play, the upgraded 4 and Lost Legacy again, and pull a Lucas and chase trophies.
There you go.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna wait
that's what I'm
another
talking
like
about.
5-10 years before I play him again, so I forget him again.
Yeah. That's the best way to do it. You want to just forget, play enough games to where you'll just forget.
Yeah.
Yeah. Greatness from small beginnings. I said it
Mhm.
wrong earlier. I definitely said seize the day, as in carpe diem. It's sic parvis magna. Greatness from
Mhm.
small beginnings, which seems like too few words for greatness from small beginnings. It's like double the words, but whatever. Latin.
You don't know Latin?
Nope. I'm afraid not.
I thought you did.
Nope. I've heard of it. I've heard good things. Alrighty then, Patty, Timmy, along with you, our beloved friends, family, and joiners, go get your good morning this week, and may God bless and guide your lives as you live, as you work, and as you game.